Okay, now we're in our test vehicle monitoring the transmittant that we just installed for the speed sensor. Oh. You know, some people have to work really hard to be this sexy. Wow. Okay, so we gotta monitor the speed sensor and temp. So with this car, we have the trans set up without the oil cooler because we want the trans to heat up as quickly as possible. What we found is when you get over 180 F, sensors and a mechatronic like to act up if they have a problem. So that's what this is here for. This is actually hooked up to what would be the oil cooler line that would go to the cooler. We just have a sensor in line. We just ran the oil line, just looped it back into the filter housing. So you're going to hear a lot of noises coming from this car because this is strictly a vehicle we purchased to do testing. So it's been cut up, hacked up pretty badly. It's had hundreds of units in it, possibly thousands. I don't know, would you say 1,000 would be an exaggeration?
It's probably pretty close.
So anyway, it's rear-wheel drive. We modified the T-case, welded it up. So when we install and remove the trans, we don't have to worry about front axles or anything. And the rear diff is welded to the frame basically at this point because they're pretty weak and they tend to rip off the back of these things. So so a lot of that ring and pinion noise is working its way into the cabin here. So the noises you hear is not the trans, it's the rear diff resonating through the car. So what I like to do is, what Kevin did is he reprogrammed the mechatronic with the latest software, and he also performed a teach-in on the unit. And after he's done with that, I like to take it for a drive, get the trans hot, do stop and go driving, take it on the highway. We have this loop that we usually take that goes through town and everything to really get the feel for this unit, to make sure it's working exactly the way we want it to. And by the time we get back to the shop, it'll be way over 200 F. It'll be getting pretty hot, which is ideal for us. I mean, it's not ideal for daily use for the average person, but for us, we want to get it hot, so if there's a sensor problem, it'll show its ugly head before the transmission gets shipped back to the customer. You know, we do have test stations at the shop where we can test the sensors, do all kinds of stuff, but unfortunately with these units, since they're pretty finicky, there's really nothing better than real world testing under load in the car. And every SST that we rebuild at the shop or repair gets this treatment. We do this because we have to. It just allows for a much higher quality product to leave the facility. speed sensor yet?
No, it's good.
Yeah, problem with speed sensor codes is sometimes the speed sensor could be faulty and it won't show up, you know, on the first start of the car, or if you're going short distances. It'll show up after you shut the car off and then restart it later on. So because the code can randomly come up, we like to watch it in the logger to be absolutely sure that it's not doing anything weird before the code even shows its head. Let's see. So I like to do some wide open throttle pulls just to make sure we're okay here, and it all seems normal. Without a cooler, the temp's been slowly creeping up. We're almost at 190. All right, we put quite a few miles on it. City and highway driving. Trans feels great. Now that it's over 220F, we're creeping up on 230 for oil temps. I like to hold it in fourth gear for a little bit, because for some reason on these SSTs, fourth gear is a gear where everything goes wrong. So, you know, there's no pressure fluctuations. You know, typically you'll see RPMs go up and down. If there's a pressure problem, there's not. If the mechatronic is getting finicky about something due to temp, it'll normally act up here too, and it seems perfect. So we're just gonna head back to the shop. I'd say this trans is good to go. We've been driving over 180F for quite some time, and not a single hiccup. All right, so this is what it takes to build a test vehicle that's had literally hundreds of transmissions in and out of it. Like I said before, we test every SST in this car. This is the car that we do all of that with. We reprogram them, teach in, performed, and road test it, because like I said, load on the street, there's just no way to really duplicate that in an efficient way. So as you can see, the intake's been moved. We moved the coolant hoses so we can access the mechatronic easily if we need to do work on the mechatronic for whatever reason. You know, no battery here. The ECU's been pushed out of the way, so it makes it easy to remove and install the unit. We invest in, you know, most of the units that we work on, we invest in purchasing a vehicle so we can make sure that we test the transmissions properly. So, you know, obviously we have this rally yard here. It was a flood car, just basically worthless, that we hacked up so we can go ahead and test the SSTs with and progress on that platform. This is our GTR here. Also has had probably hundreds, if not thousands, of GR6s in and out of it as well. This poor thing is completely worn out as well. But you know, it's necessary to do the same with the GR6s. You look underneath here, you know, all this stuff, you know, this is the, you know, it's all pretty generic, but it needs just be easy to swap in and out. But there's the sensor for the gauge we were looking at. And yeah, everything just slips right off. The T-case is just a generic worn out T-case that we welded shut so we don't have to run front axles. As you can see, no front axles. So, I mean, you know, we're not terribly proud of this thing, but it does an amazing job So you go through a few hundred units and you start to wear out subframe bolts and stuff. So we just cut away what we need to gain access to what we need to do to keep it going. You know, we had to build brackets for this because these rear diffs and these rally arts are incredibly weak, and we've ripped rear diffs off of this thing multiple times. So now it's pretty much intact. But that's it. That's all there is to it. I mean, you know, getting the build from us, you get a lot for your money. So I'll show you a few other things here. That's our A90. We also have the Toyota Supra. We're going to be working on some stuff in the new year for it that should be really awesome. And that's our car as well. And this BRZ, we did a lot of work to it. Actually, it's an FRS. You know, so we've advanced a lot on the transmissions for these as well. You know, it's rare that we have to test anything in the FRS, but you know, every once in a while we run something through it. So anyway, I guess that's about it. I appreciate you guys watching this stuff, and hopefully it gives you a better idea of what's really involved in doing this. You know, when you order, especially when you order an SST from us, we don't just take it apart, slap some parts in it, and that's it. We clean the thing thoroughly. We do a thorough visual mechanical inspection. We upgrade many parts in the unit. You know, we do a lot. You know, we reprogram it. We test it in the car. You know, it's a lot. You get a lot of bang for your buck with us, and we're hoping that, we know you're paying a lot of money. We hope that showing you this, what we do, what pretty much every SST goes through, will give you a better idea of you know, what you're getting out of this place. So thanks again for watching, and that's about it.